I never imagined that a single text message from my son would leave me staring at my phone for nearly 10 minutes. It was a quiet Saturday morning in Cedar Hollow, Oregon. Rain tapped softly against the kitchen windows while I sat at the table with a cup of coffee that had already gone cold. My phone buzzed, and when I looked down, I saw a message from my 18-year-old son, Callahan. "Mom, can we talk? I need help. It's about my first time." I read the message once, then again. Then a third time. At first, I wasn't entirely sure what he meant. His first time doing what? Driving somewhere alone? Applying for college? Moving out? But the more I stared at the words, the more I realized exactly what he was trying to say. Suddenly, memories of my own youth came rushing back. The confusion, the pressure, the fear of making mistakes, and the feeling that everyone else seemed to know what they were doing except me. I took a deep breath and replied, "Of course, sweetheart. Come over. I'm here." About 20 minutes later, the front door opened. Callahan stepped inside wearing a dark hoodie, his hands buried deep in his pockets. The nervous expression on his face instantly reminded me of the little boy who used to hide behind my legs on the first day of school. No matter how old children get, there are moments when a parent can still see the younger version of them. He sat across from me in the living room, staring at the floor. For several seconds, neither of us spoke. "I don't even know how to start," he finally said. I smiled gently. "You already started. You reached out." He looked up, surprised. "And I'm proud of you for doing that." The tension in his shoulders eased slightly. Then the words began pouring out. "I think I'm ready to be with someone someday. But honestly, I'm scared. What if I mess everything up? What if I don't know what I'm doing? Everybody talks about this stuff like it's easy, but it doesn't feel easy to me." His voice was shaking by the time he finished speaking. What struck me wasn't his uncertainty. It was the fact that he trusted me enough to share it. Since his father and I separated when he was 10 years old, Callahan and I had become incredibly close. I had always tried to create a home where he felt safe asking questions, no matter how uncomfortable they might be. Even so, I knew this conversation wasn't really about growing up physically. It was about growing up emotionally. I leaned forward and spoke carefully. "Callahan, there's nothing wrong with being nervous. Most people are nervous. They just pretend they aren't." He gave a small laugh. "Really?" "Absolutely. The biggest mistake people make is thinking they have to act like they know everything. Nobody knows everything." For the next hour, we talked. Not about pressure or expectations, but about trust, respect, communication, and understanding. We talked about how meaningful relationships are built on honesty rather than pretending. I explained that maturity isn't something that magically appears overnight. It's something you develop every time you treat another person with kindness and consideration. The more we talked, the more relaxed he became. Eventually, he admitted something that made me smile. "Can I ask a weird question?" "Go ahead." "What if I freeze when I have to talk about feelings?" I laughed softly. "Then welcome to being human." He laughed too. Then he asked if we could practice having difficult conversations. Not the private details, just the emotional side of things. He wanted to know how to express feelings honestly without feeling embarrassed. At first, it felt a little awkward, but before long, we found ourselves acting out imaginary conversations. We practiced how to be honest, how to listen, how to communicate clearly, and how to speak with confidence. A few times, we even ended up laughing so hard that we had to start over. When he finally left that evening, he looked lighter than when he arrived. Over the next several weeks, I noticed small changes. He seemed calmer, more confident, and more comfortable with himself. One afternoon, he came through the front door with a grin on his face. "I talked to her today." I set down the book I was reading. "You did?" He nodded. "Like, really talked. I told her how I felt." "And?" A smile spread across his face. "She listened." There was something beautiful about those two simple words. She listened. In a world where so many people are desperate to be understood, being listened to can mean everything. A few weeks later, Callahan knocked on my bedroom door late at night. He stood there looking thoughtful. "I just wanted to thank you." "For what?" "For not making me feel stupid." The sincerity in his voice caught me off guard. He continued, "Most people think guys my age only care about one thing. But you helped me understand that relationships are about much more than that." My heart swelled with pride. Months passed, and one evening he came home smiling brighter than I had seen in years. "I think I'm falling for her," he admitted. I couldn't help laughing. "That sounds serious." "It is. And does she feel the same way?" His smile softened. "I think she does. The best part is that I can be myself around her." As I looked at him, I realized something important. What had started as a conversation about his first experience had become something much bigger. It had become a lesson about trust, honesty, vulnerability, and emotional maturity. It had taught him how to communicate openly and treat people with respect. And it had reminded me what being a parent is really about. Parenthood isn't just protecting your children from mistakes. It's being the safe place they can return to when life feels confusing. It's listening when they need guidance instead of judgment. It's helping them understand themselves when the world expects them to already have all the answers. That night, after Callahan went to bed, I sat quietly in the living room, listening to the rain outside. I thought about how differently things could have gone. If I had laughed, dismissed his concerns, or avoided the conversation, he might have searched for answers in all the wrong places. Instead, we shared an honest moment that strengthened the trust between us. And as I sat there in the darkness, I realized that my son wasn't becoming a man because he suddenly knew everything. He was becoming a man because he had the courage to ask questions, to be honest about his fears, and to treat others with kindness. And honestly, I couldn't have been prouder. Did Ainsley handle this the right way? Let me know in the comments. And if this story touched your heart, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more emotional family stories. Thanks for watching.